I am so excited to be here. I wanted to do this right. So right now I'm talking into the wrong thing. How funny is
Okay.
that?
Well, you take your time, get yourself organized, and I'll talk a little bit about who you are to the audience as you're getting yourself set up.
Hi, everyone.
Okay. This is Pam Sherman, and we're going to be talking to Pam here in a minute as soon as she gets squared away here. She's got a new book coming out that I want to actually spend a little bit of time talking. Oh, good, you've got it. Uh, and the title of it is Play You, the Role of a Lifetime, Bridge the Believability Gap to Boost Your Confidence, Connection, and Impact. And I think this is a great follow coming off of our last guest because we were really talking about, and this is, you can see the tagline on my screen here, moving possibility into reality.
I love that. I
And
have a bracelet that's all about possibility. So
that's, yeah. I mean, I've got a little thing on my desk that I've had for years. It's, you're not going to be able to see this, I don't think, but it says, everything is possible.
yes, exactly. And I actually truly believe that. That's why I was so
Oh,
honored to be asked to be here with you. And because what you and David are putting out into the world is all about possibilities. And
absolutely.
this book has been, oh my gosh, it's almost 20 years in the making. I will say it's a lifetime of living it, but it's 8 years in the writing. And at some points, I didn't think it was possible to put it out, but I felt it was so important to share my beliefs isn't it funny that technology was the thing upsetting me? And, in my head, if you could have heard what was going on in my head at the time with this, because how I want to show up always is about making things possible, making things, having deeper connections, but also about being believable. It's not about me being authentic. What was making me upset was that I wouldn't be able to serve you and your audience with my message. And that's exactly what the book is about. How can we really increase not authenticity in this world, Blaine? There's plenty of authenticity. Authenticity is all about you showing up as you. Believability is about what you do for others. And that's what possibility means to me. It's all about my impact, connection, and I have to believe in myself and have others believe in me in order to do it.
You mentioned something here that actually moves me into a question around that interface between authenticity and believability. And believability has to do with more of what I'm providing, as you describe it here. Where does generosity come into that mix?
My other favorite word. It's so interesting. So I like to say I'm a recovering lawyer that became an actor. And the counterintuitive solution to growing your connection and impact with other people, in whatever role you're playing, I found back in a rehearsal studio when I was so miserable wearing what I call my metaphorical and actual ill-fitting suit as a lawyer. And I realized something wasn't right. And I decided to go back to my first love because I always dreamed of being an actor. I kind of thought being a lawyer would be like being one on TV. It wasn't. And
No.
I go back into a rehearsal studio and I realized, what the first thing that actors learn? It's not about you. It's about the other. It's about your other actor. It's about the collaborators. It's about how you reach your audience. How can you break through that metaphorical fourth wall in order to make a difference with your product, with yourself, with your team, with your community, with your family even, right? So that solution, actually, I started walking with I felt better. I felt taller. And in creating what I thought, well, this is the world of pretend. How is this even relevant? But the greatest actors take us on a journey of believability, not suspending our disbelief. We believe that, Tom Cruise can jump off a building not because of the CGI and the technology around him, because of the humanity and the storytelling that is being told that we want to follow and the journey we want to go on. And isn't that what we want from our leaders too?
And what's interesting about that, there's a reciprocity that kind of kicks in here. And Mission Impossible is a great example of this. I mean, and Tom does a lot of his own stuff.
Well, that's crazy.
Yeah, that's crazy. But there's an experience that the audience, and I'll just speak for myself. How do I feel about me while I'm in the presence of that movie or in the presence of that character, in the presence of that story? So it taps into the biology. And I'm very fond of saying that, when we start thinking about communication, communication isn't a logical process, it's a biological process.
It is hearts and
And
minds.
hearts and minds, yeah. And what I find is that a lot of leaders, and I'll just move it into that domain here, but a lot of leaders will rely on getting the right words. I got the message, I crafted the message. And some of the actors with whom I've worked, they will spend an inordinate amount of time memorizing the script and all of that stuff, which is all well and good. You got to know where you're going.
Yeah.
But then the extraordinary ones are the ones that live the script.
Right.
They
It's so
live-
interesting. Viola Davis, who I adore,
Yeah,
talks
she's wonderful.
about, this, she goes, anybody can memorize lines. And, trust me, I perform in a one-woman show. For a while, I like to say I used to identify with my corporate captors, and I was diminishing even my, the acting metaphors, because, you start working with leaders in large companies and they're like, no, we don't want to talk about that. But she talks about how it's all the work that comes before you memorize the lines that makes something feel real and believable. And too often, I'm often get called in, well, are you the media trainer? Do you do presentation skills? I'm like, no, we have to get back to the fundamental. This isn't about presentation skills. This is about how you want to show up for others. And the believability gap and bridging it, even the most skilled communicators may still have it within them, because they think they're supposed to show up in one way, and that makes them less believable to themselves. And they think they have to show up the way they're expected to show up, and that makes them less believable to others. And
Yeah.
so it is a conundrum that can only be solved by getting back to the basics of knowing who you are, understanding that your power doesn't come in your title or your role, but from the character beliefs that you put forth in the world, the core values, the core defining word. Mine is energy, and I hope I show up with that.
You exemplify that.
Well, it's the greatest compliment. I mean, the real tagline of the book is be who you are wherever you are in order to ignite your audience. And people forget about that last part. They think it is all about be who I am, whoever I am. And, that's not important. In this world of living on technology, I'm meeting you here in this technological miracle. I still need to make a connection with you to understand the difference I can make for you and your audience. That's the real mistake for these leaders who give me the message. And often they don't think the message they have to prime an emotional pump before they get people to listen to what they need them to listen to. Right. So I can't tell you the aha moments. And I work with leaders at every level, from the intern to the CEO. I'm agnostic on that, because I feel that's why I wrote the book, because I want the people who can't work with me to read it. It's actionable, to get that it's not about what you want. It's about making sure you meet your audience's needs, and you need to find the clues in the script. It could be feedback. It could be your role description. But then you also need to, as a team, show up and be believable to each other. And then you have to overcome the obstacles that hold you back, those inner narratives. I call them the archetypes,
The archetypes,
and you can figure out what they are. It's the hero, the imposter, the director, the person who comes in and thinks that they have to be authoritarian and directive in order to get what they want. And the head fake for, I can't help but think, don't do business with dicks. I should have a tagline on this that says, don't be an asshole. That's what this book is. Oh my gosh. Can I say, is that okay?
You can say that. Absolutely.
Because I will never forget working with a very senior leader, and he goes, I thought I had to be an asshole to get things done. I'm like, yeah, let's see how's that working for you?
How's that working for you? Yeah.
It's not. So it's really fun. I love that you're all about generosity and possibility. So why not the definition of acting that, when I went back, and the funny thing happened on the way to my secure profession, my law firm went out of business. And after being profiled in People magazine for ditching my day job to pursue my dreams, I went back and I studied acting, because I realized there's this great quote. I don't know who said it. I think it's attributed to Martha Graham, but if the stage were only as thin as a tightrope, so people would be afraid to tread upon it. It's a beautiful quote. And I studied in this technique by Sanford Meisner. And the other quote that drives the book is this: acting is the ability to live truthfully in given imaginary circumstances. So isn't that what we're all trying to do, is live truthfully in the circumstances that we're given?
And this is all imagined. This whole thing that we call reality is all imagined.
That's why when my clients get upset and they deal with conflict, I'm like, you got an eye on the prize. What are you really here for? Who do you really want to impact? You know, what's the purpose of your business? Let's get you back. Like, how many leaders who are listening to this right now have a mission statement for their business and they don't have one for themselves, Blaine? A personal, you know, even, you know, my purpose in the world is to share my energy. And I discovered it. I was in Casablanca working with 50 CEOs in Morocco. And at the end, I had trouble finding my core defining word. It's an exercise in the book. Like, what's the one word you would use to describe you? And there's only 2 rules. It can't be situational, late, tired, or hungry. And it can't, and your friends and family would have to agree with you.
Yeah.
So that's very important to me. And I couldn't find my word, which is so ironic, right? Like my clients, I'm like, what's the first word that comes to mind? But my dirty secret is I couldn't figure out mine. And at the end, after this 4.5-hour facilitation where, you know, people cried, they shared things they'd never shared before. People came out changed. This woman came up to me and said, "Thank you for sharing your energy." And I was like, that's all you got from this? And then I had this aha moment.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Leaders cause movement. And I do something similar with the clients with whom I work. And it's an exercise about, and it's about capturing a word, but it has to be a verb. And
that's great.
I got this from Buckminster Fuller, Bucky Fuller. I am a verb. And what's the verb make possible? And the organization is a verb.
Yes.
When we start thinking about ourselves, our organization, our team, through the lens of action, because that's what life is built on, is action and growth. So as a verb, Rene Descartes, I think, therefore I am.
Absolutely.
I imagine, therefore I am. I mean, those sorts of things.
It is funny though, when I don't give them that construct, the word, I had a client who, you know, a very large company going through difficult times. And she said, "I am a lighthouse." And I was like, wow, why is that? And she said, "Well, I need to be the light in the storm." And she, you know, what was happening in her voice and her body language was that she was walking down the halls, not looking people in the eye. She wouldn't put her camera on for virtual meetings. She had lost that ability. She didn't realize that that was part of her legacy, was how she was going to show up through difficult times.
Yeah.
And although I do love the verb,
I shine, therefore I am.
I shine, therefore I am, which was the whole point. I have to say, I love my cover.
I do too. That's beautiful.
When this is all done, it comes out on April 21st, which is 21 is a big number. I met my husband in my 21st year. We're married 44 years. We are, my birthday is June 21st. His birthday is December 21st. And my book is coming out on April 21st. I didn't choose it. It's just apparently a day. So it's really important to me that the book was about shining your rays on others. It's not about, you know, you'll bask in the glow of what, you give to them. It'll come back to you. And that's what I wanted people to. I had a great acting teacher once. I can't sing, but I took voice classes. She's like, "I'm going to teach you how to sell a song." She started on Broadway in the original Guys and Dolls. So that's, everybody knows Guys and Dolls because their high school has done it. But she said, our job is to shine our rays on our audience and just bask in the glow of what we've given them. And I thought it still moves me. It's in the book. And that's what we hope for our leaders, for our teams, and what we're going through. AI cannot replace that.
Right.
We can use it to enhance our rays, but because whatever filter you've got, I look fantastic. Thank you so much.
It works. It works. Hey, we're trained professionals. Do not try this at home. And how that works. Pam, I want to thank you so much. I know David is going to want to be available the next time we have you back. We'll have you back on another show. And I
Thank
mentioned
you.
this earlier to our previous guest too. I've got a longer form show that I do called The Soul of Business. It's a podcast, and I'd love to have you on the show, particularly around the launch of your book, if you're amenable to it. And
Of course I am. Wait, am I allowed to take a picture? I know we're live, but I just
Yeah.
this is so cool, and that everything worked.
Everything works. There we go.
Yes, I would love to be back. For me, entrepreneurs, I do a lot of work in EO and YPO around the world. The entire mission of YPO, founded where I am right now in Rochester, New York, is better
Rochester, yep.
leaders through education and idea exchange, and that's what you guys live by. So I'm very honored to be here, Blaine. Thank you, and
Perfect.
to come back. To be asked to come back? Are you kidding?
Hey, come on down. It's an encore.
I could talk about this all day. So thank you.
Okay, well, we'll make it happen. We'll make it happen.
Yes,
Folks, Pam Sherman, and the book is let's see here. Explore, Dream, Grow, and Excite. This is kind of what we're working with, but the name of the book itself is Play You, the Role of a Lifetime. Tagline, bridge the believability gap to boost your confidence, connection, and impact.
Available for pre-sale right now.
There you go. Okay. Well, those pre-sale numbers are important.
Yes, you can get it on Amazon and or any other retailer that you want on pre-sale. I would love that because I want this in as many hands as possible, because that's the impact I want to make. Thank you, Blaine.
And you can find out more about where the book is, not only the regular places, but the Pam, the PamSherman.com.
Because there's another one, Blaine, and she's a fitness instructor, and that is clearly not me.
Okay. Pam, thank you so much. I appreciate you being here. I love talking with you. Take care.
Thank you. Bye-bye.